Hello, everyone. This is W, aka William, host of the High Art on the Edge page. Today, I had the privilege of speaking with Andy Jossi and Krissy Vanderwoude from the band the Churchhill Garden. They spoke about their brand new release, Metamorphosis, and everything that went into it, including their heart and soul. They also shared their feelings about their new single, Keep the Faith, as well as inspirational albums. So pull up a seat, relax, and enjoy listening to how creative, how intelligent, how collaborative, and how gracious this fabulous duo are. Enjoy my conversation with the Churchhill Garden. Ah, yummy tunes. 9 a.m. tunes here in sunny California. Hello, everyone. This is W, also known as William, host of the High Art on the Edge page. That was Keep the Faith by the Churchill Garden. Speaking of the Churchill Garden, we have some lovely guests here today. Krissy Vanderwoude, Andy Jossi from Churchill Garden in two different areas, may I say, Switzerland and Indiana. Welcome, you two. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks.
We are doing great. Thanks for having us. You've only been trying to get us to do this for a while here, so.
Well, I appreciate your time. And by the way, if you are tuning in, we have some guests that have arrived. Deborah, Aubrey, Felipe, hello. All say hello.
Yay.
If you want to let us know where you're tuning in from, that would be fantastic. If you have a question for Andy or Krissy, go ahead, put it in the comment box. We will take those questions as they come along and we will insert them into this conversation. I was thinking about how I want to start today's conversation, and I'm actually going to be very much like a teacher. So here we go. I want to start with this definition of metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, a change of physical form, structure, or substance, especially by supernatural means. Metamorphosis, a striking alteration in appearance, character, or circumstances. These are just some of the things that we're going to talk about in relation to the music, the album, the compositional stuff, all the above. So I want to start with metamorphosis in terms of your life before we get to the music. So what I mean by that is, as being a musician, how have you metamorphosized since the last album that you released? How have things changed for you? So we're going to start with Krissy on that one.
Oh, okay. I just feel like in general, when I look back at just where I started with music initially, it's almost laughable sometimes when I hear some of those recordings or just, lyricism and things like that. But I definitely feel like I have grown a lot and continue to grow, continue to draw inspiration from, other music that I listen to and just life experiences. I'm certainly inspired, like when Andy sends me a song and I just, hear what he's already done. Oftentimes I feel like it's a song that could stand on its own before I would even touch it with vocals. And it just kind of pushes me to make sure, like, okay, his bar is really high. I got to make sure that I'm, meeting that and at least doing the song justice. And one thing that I think is really cool with Andy as an artist that he has helped push me is he always wants multiple layers of vocals. So like I'll send, I'll have like a mainline vocal and then he'll want to have like a high harmony, a low harmony, and maybe a fourth harmony somewhere, and it just helps push me outside of the creative box that I might keep myself in otherwise. And whether he uses it all or not is one thing, but I just think constantly evolving, growing, trying new things. I always have said that I tend to sing about like human emotion, matters of the heart, things like that. So that is something right now that I feel I need to push through and grow beyond, because I don't always want to keep singing about the same things. And they're not, some things, of course, are relative to my own personal life. Some things have nothing to do with it. And it's just like, I just kind of want to find a way to grow beyond that and use maybe more like analogies for singing, or my lyrics rather, and just not stay stuck in that rut. So,
Okay, so you set a high bar, your standards are elevated. Where did that come from? Was that something that you felt like passed down through DNA in terms of mom or dad? This will to produce and create excellence.
this for Andy?
Chris,
For me.
that one.
My bad.
We'll get to Andy, don't you worry.
No, that's a good
How was
question.
that instilled in you?
I mean, I will say I had like probably the most supportive parents imaginable. Like no matter what I did in life, my parents were there to cheer me on. Always my biggest cheerleader, and never made me feel like I was less than, So that is a very good question. Maybe just me always wanting to continue growing. And I think just, I mean, even in my career, I feel like in any kind of creative endeavor, anytime you feel like you have like, oh, I've got it all, I don't have room to learn anything, like might as well be done, because I just feel like there's always room to grow and learn. And I think being humble is important, but also striving to like try to do a little bit better than the last time is good too. But yeah, as far as where that comes from, you're going to keep me thinking on that one for a minute. I am not sure.
Okay, so if that comes to your mind, let us know. I'd love
Will
to
do.
know the answer. So, Andy, we're going to go over to you now. In Metamorphic Changed, how have you evolved as a musician since the last album? How have you grown?
Well, basically, I think it's the the biggest part where I grow is technical stuff. I think so. I look much more YouTube tutorials to see how to EQ things and how to proper recordings. As I basically just do everything alone at home, just learning by doing. And I was not that happy with the Heart and Soul record, how it turns out musically from the sound, and I just try to work on that so I'm more happy with the music. And I think this is the biggest change I did is I just learned. I learned how to EQ things, how to use compressors and all this stuff, which I still don't know what I actually do, but it sounds better. Um, so I'm happy with it. I think that's the biggest change since Heart and Soul, and I'm more brave to bring in other influence. For example, Keep the Faith, where you just take like a soul track and start to work on it. I remember when I did like Churchill Garden, and it was the moment when I split it from Churchill Garden to Churchill Garden and Blue Herons, because I just think it was too the range was too big for Churchill Garden, and now I think we are little bit more open now again to go over. I don't know how you say that. Um, just to be more open for different sounds. Like my biggest wish, I would like to have a bagpipe in a Churchill Garden song. Like you have a shoegaze track and it's like Irish instruments in it. I would say that's awesome. Um, Before I would not be brave enough to try something like that. I think now I would say, yeah, try it. If it works, it's good.
So, you get recognized for your technical prowess, your strength, your muscle. Your attention to detail is impeccable. I want to know where did that come from? A mom or dad, aunt, uncle? Who instilled that in you to be very specific,
Oh,
Andy?
I think that's the HDS. uh, no, it's not from my parents. It's just when I do something, I do it mostly with all my heart. It's
Okay.
like when I do a graphic work, then I do it with all my heart. I can't stop. It makes things much more expensive, but I can't stop because it's just not it. It's not good enough. Um, but musically wise, I remember when I started, so I was quite old when I started with it, and I played some songs to my mother, and she just said, "That sounds all the same." Okay, uh, I don't have the musical background from my parents. It looks like, um,
But do you have the work discipline?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Also at work, if I do something, I do it right.
Yeah.
I'm good in not do anything. Just go out, go for a walk. But when I sit down and I try to play a song, then I try and try and try and try it because I'm not a technical good player, but I keep on going till I have it.
Okay. I see. We have some hellos here. Um, and some comments. Deborah says, Andy Jossi has the highest bar in the universe, so amazingly talented, yet so humble. Going back to what Krissy was and both what you were saying. Hello from Austin, from Andreas. Deborah says again, what? Were you not happy with? What were you not happy with on Heart and Soul? Andy, do you want to answer that one?
Well, yeah, it's a very specific thing. There's a very annoying tone, and it comes from a reverb I have, and it's like a high peep, on a certain frequency. And once I find that frequency, now I just hear that. When I hear an old song, I hear this peep everywhere, and it's just annoying when I listen it now. I just hear that as I take it away. Um, so that was the basic thing, and also the kick drum was too kicky. That's not a word. Uh, it was like cutting songs into pieces. It was too loud,
Okay.
too much trumpet, and I just have to learn how to do these things. And I think it's much better on the new mixes from the songs, and also the vinyl is mastered this time also as a vinyl master. The last record was just like a digital mastering. Um, it's overall better. So when I received the test pressing, I was just like, oh yeah, thank you very much. It really sounds much better.
Krissy, I hear a gentleman that's pretty hard on himself
Oh.
when it comes to be.
Oh my goodness. I always tell him it's like one of the most endearing qualities about him, but one of the most frustrating because he will never know his own brilliance, which is, again, endearing. I love that he's so humble, but he could have the biggest ego ever and deserve to
So,
have one.
are you that way too when it comes to doing vocal work?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that we will always probably be our own worst critics, just artists in general. And again, I think it ties back to me saying like it's just what keeps you pushing forward. But sometimes I think Andy and I both get this way when we are like working through a song. We'll be listening to it and just be like, oh, like right before release, we'll just be like, is it good enough? Like, what am I missing? Or I'll start hearing something about my vocal and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know. I feel like that's too high. And then if I take a step back from it for a little while and don't listen to it, like for instance, when he did the digital remaster and just recently when he uploaded it to Bandcamp, to be able to press play on that and listen to all the songs collectively in a row,
Yeah.
I just like wrote him right away and I'm like, I am so proud of us. Like it just, it felt like I could step outside of it as if I was not a part of it and listen to it and appreciate it in a different way. But yeah, I think like there's been times even with my vocals where I'll send him something and I always like listen to it, of course, before I send it, and then he'll be like, do you hear this part? Could you, either if he'll have me re-record it or whatever, or just bring it to my attention, and it's like blows my mind that I did not hear it when I recorded it. So if something was slightly off key or whatever, so it's just interesting. I think that also is part of growing. And I mean, I will definitely keep my feet on the ground and stay humble, because that's, I will never think I'm like God's gift to vocals, but I appreciate having the outlets that I do to sing on it. And he's so supportive of what I do and just gives me full creative freedom.
Let's talk about the album Metamorphosis. Okay, so this is a question back at you, Krissy. We have 7 tracks in this album. I want to know from you, and again, keeping in spirit of the theme of metamorphosis changing, how did you push yourself as a vocalist on with these particular tracks? What were you kind of reaching for this time? Like, okay, I'm going to try this a little differently. Where did you put a lot of energy or less energy?
That's a good question too. I feel like it just comes about so organically. Like I definitely do not first of all, I never write any lyrics prior to hearing a song. It's always just kind of like, hear what Andy sends me. Okay, what does that make me think of? Or what do I feel? Or like, where does my head go when I hear that? And oftentimes when I am writing vocals, it will be like when I'm out on a walk. And so kind of like I had mentioned before, I like to do like analogy type things to tell a story. So sometimes it'll be, like actually this is not on Metamorphosis, but The Same Sky, the song The Same Sky, which was our very first collaboration together. He actually had titled it Big Sky, which I believe is a pedal. And it got the word sky in my head, and then it just like spiraled into these vocals and lyrics. But for sure, like we have a bank of songs. I'll say that. He's very prolific when it comes to songwriting. So bless his heart for being patient with me, because he has like, for both Blue Herons and Churchhill Garden, so many songs in a song bank. And so he's always just like, I want you to work on whatever you're feeling drawn to at the time. And so a lot of the songs, when I do work on them, we'll just kind of have to meet me where I'm at. Like if I'm, in a place where I'm not necessarily doing so well, then I'm not going to want to work on a song like, that's a little bit more upbeat or something like that. But yeah, it doesn't always, I don't think there's a lot of strategy in it for me. It's just like going about it organically and just kind of seeing like, what do I think of when I hear the music? And then just trying to spin some lyrics, of course, make them rhyme and things like that. So.
Do you do any vocal training with an instructor, or do you do any kind of pre-vocal work to prepare yourself?
I do not. Maybe I should, but I do not.
And so it sounds like what I'm hearing from you is that you kind of feel your way through it.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you. Andy, this question is for you. So very similar question. With this collection of work, these songs, how did you push yourself? How did you challenge yourself as a very technical musician?
I'm not going to say, because I mostly don't push myself, as I just play around and see what happens. But I remember, for example, rear view mirror, that the beginning of the song, when it was with the acoustic guitar, it was finger picking, and I can't finger picking, so I just try. But it was because Krissy liked We Can Dream with this acoustic song, and I thought, let's do another song like this. During the process, everything changed, so there's a lot of noise in it too, but it always go down to very silent parts. So if it comes to push myself, it's maybe the biggest thing is try to not think too much, you know, because the more I learn, the more I start to think about the songs, and I'll have to push myself not to think, just go with the flow. If I want to make it 8 minutes and I think, oh, nobody will place that, I just shut down that feeling. I do 8 minutes because I want 8 minutes. Um, and try to connect all these parts where it's noisy, just acoustic, and try to make them floating into each other. I think this is the thing I try to improve the most. And I think you hear it definitely on this special song, Rearview Mirror, that is very smooth between those parts.
And this question is right back at you, Andy. Oh, we have some more comments here. Andreas says, I think I got what Andy meant by not being a technical player. I've never known him to speak to music theory. I suspect he hears a sound in his head and just pushes it out until he gets it out.
Yes.
Or just pushes it until he gets it out. Wonderfully said. Low Frequency Assault says, from our own album production, I know exactly what you mean, Andy. Sometimes I was annoyed with the whole song because of a tiny bit, which probably no one else ever notices. After all, Heart and Soul for me is a collection of the older songs, which everybody was waiting for. It's still amazing. Cheers, Seb. James says hello from Portland. Hello, James. You guys make amazing music. Heather is here. Hello from stormy Oklahoma. Hello, Heather. Don't you worry, Heather. We're not going to be doing any trivia. You're okay today. Deborah says, I think Andy pushes himself when it comes to the production side. He's always trying to learn techniques and sounds, but his songwriting is organic, very well articulated. And Vinka says hello from Minnesota listening. Hello, Vinka. So Andy, I think that's exactly where I want to go into a little bit with some of these songs, any songs you want to talk about where you felt like, man, I just cannot get the sound I'm getting. And if there was a moment like that, why do you think you hit these roadblocks? And how do you get over those roadblocks, those bumps?
The question is for me, is it right?
Yes.
Okay.
That one. Were there any songs that were just a pain in the ass for you?
Yeah, I keep the faith, but it's not on the record. I think for me, the most challenging one was also Rearview Mirror, as it's much more complicated than other songs. So, as I say, glue parts together that it works. That was the main problem.
Do you remember how long that took from start to finish? How long it took for you to compose and arrange all that?
Well, composing, I'm mostly very, very fast. I get mostly, it's one day. You know, I send Krissy on a weekend. On Saturday, I sit down and do a song and could send the whole idea in the evening. But then it comes to work on it. That's much longer, especially also with the remix now for those songs. I think I even spend more time to remix than to mix the initial versions, because I try to make it better.
Krissy, this question is for you. So we have tracks, Reality, Grounded, Always There, Birds, Fade Away, Lonely, and we bookend it with Rearview Mirror. Lyrically, is there a theme that we were going here? Can we tie some themes here?
I mean, I feel like it's a bit of a, storybook type of thing, but for sure, like the second side is like, having something you love and losing it kind of thing. And then the opposite side would be like just when you're in that stage, how much you appreciate being in that state of love and just kind of like, again, I just feel like I try to make very relatable lyrics to all human beings. And I feel like we all know what it is like to love and unfortunately know what it's like to lose. And it's kind of been a consistent theme in a lot of my lyrics over the years, which is, again, like something I really want to try to break out of that a little bit. And like I said, it's hard, like sometimes I have to go to like a full on state of daydreaming, and then other times it's like very relative to my own circumstances, and somehow they all kind of, flow together. But yeah, it's always been in basically matters of the heart, human emotion. And that's kind of it.
In the idea of human metamorphosis,
Mhm.
changing, we all have had our hardships.
Mhm.
We all have our setbacks. When writing lyrics, do you find it easier to write lyrics when you are more depressed or sad or melancholy versus when you are happy and joyful?
It has to be like wherever I am at is the type of song that I can work on. So like for sure, I could never work on a song like Rearview Mirror if I didn't have a little bit of that melancholy in my own heart at that time. So, and that's why I feel like I can connect so much to the type of music that Andy writes, but it's just such like opposite ends of the spectrum. And I feel like I always think of the band The Cure. Like I love songs like Boys Don't Cry just as much as I do anything off of Disintegration, And so I feel like Churchhill Garden kind of has that same aspect where, he'll send me a song like Keep the Faith, for instance, or even Always There, just a little bit more upbeat. And those might be something that I'll tap into more in like spring, summer type thing, because it just feels like that type of song to me. And so, and then go back to the song bank and pull out one of the like, the ones that'll just, kill you and rip your heart out and just really kind of pour into that. But I do feel that I have to kind of emotionally be in those places on some level in order to connect to them.
Sometimes when I was had some really good lessons while teaching, I could hear echoes of an inspirational teacher from college or a colleague of mine. And then sometimes I would go, ooh, I'm starting to sound too much of like them
Mm-hmm.
in my instruction and didactic approach. So, Krissy, do you ever feel like sometimes when you are working on your vocals, you hear someone else and go, ooh, I'm going to pull back the reins and just work on my voice?
Not at all, actually. I would say I definitely have like inspiration and influences for sure, like female vocalists. I mean, the obvious, Liz Fraser and Rachel Goswell and Harriet Wheeler, like some of my favorite vocalists. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't feel like I know of another vocalist that has my voice. I don't feel like I'm certainly never intending to emulate the sound of anyone's voice by any means. There are things I wish I could change about my voice, if I'm honest. Like, I don't love that I always kind of naturally go to a very high register. I wish I had a little bit more of like a raspy, like my speaking voice is obviously lower. So people are like, what the hell? Like when I talk sometimes and then sing, they're like, wait, what? And it's interesting to me. I feel like I have a range. I can tap into a lower vocal, but it's not where I tend to go naturally. And so sometimes I wish that's something I could change, that would be a more like natural pocket for me. But yeah, I don't feel at all like I ever have someone in mind, or I think that I sound like anyone else. I just know there are things I wish I could maybe like, so maybe that's a goal or like something that I would like to grow into, is maybe learning to tap into more different sounds of my voice.
So, being the teacher that I am, I have to ask you this question. You just laid down a goal, potential goal.
Yeah.
How would you work on that goal? What would you do to go about achieving that goal?
I mean, I guess maybe finding voices that are in those like raspy or lower ranges and trying to sing along with them and seeing if it's something that feels natural to me. I know Gretchen and I have talked before. She said that she feels with Andy's music for the Blue Herons that he has like the perfect, what she calls vocal pocket for her voice, to where she can sing in like a little bit lower in whatever like key he has the song in. She like slides right into it and it just feels very natural. And that was very interesting to me. And I feel like maybe just even playing around with some of more of our songs and trying to start a little lower and see what happens, and maybe try to use that as like the main vocal. Because sometimes Andy's done this and it's actually been kind of cool in the past, where like I'll come into a song doing my main vocal, which is a little bit higher, then do a higher harmony and then the lower harmony, and then he'll pull the lower harmony and make it the main vocal. And I'm like, ooh, okay. So obviously like my voice can go there. I just didn't think to take that as the main, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the main vocal, basically. So yeah, I mean, I think just practicing along with voices that I admire that maybe are in that lower raspier type of range, and just seeing what happens.
Can you give the audience a little bit quick background on how you got into singing?
Sure, Neil Burkdahl, where are you hiding? Yeah, I give all 1000% credit to Neil for actually pushing me to a point to where I ever would have thought of singing beyond like singing very loudly in the car or whatever along to other people's music. So we went to high school together. We were dear friends. He had, a band at the time, and they wanted to do just have like vocals, female vocals on a song. Gave me zero notice. I showed up at our friend Andy's house, and he's like, hey, do you think you can throw some vocals over this song? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, no lyrics, just like, kind of float some ahs, and no clue where like the courage or belief in myself came from that I could do it, because I never had before. And I went down in the basement and did it. And then they actually like used it on the track. And then when he decided that he wanted to form Whimsical after high school, and he says himself, he's like, I didn't give her a choice. I just decided Krissy was going to be the vocalist, and that was it. And I thank him very much for that, because, I mean, there would be no Churchhill Garden with Krissy involved, or anything, with Whimsical, if it were not for Neil pushing me, believing in me, and just making me think I could even do it. I don't know if I would have come here on my own, to be honest. So, and yeah, as far as like writing lyrics, knowing how to do harmony, stuff like that, like we're both like, I don't know where it comes from. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm happy that I can do it in whatever way I'm able to, because I don't have any formal training and stuff. So
Thank you for answering that question. My name is W, aka William, host of the High Art on the Edge page, here with Krissy Vanderwoude, Andy Jossi, the Churchhill Garden. Andy, we have a question from James. His question is this: curious about Andy's gear. What guitar does he prefer in his production work? Great question.
It always depends. For Churchill Garden, it's mostly Jazzmaster and Jaguar. For Blue Herons, it's mostly Rickenbacker and the Duesenberg, which I just have. It's high-strung tuning. How you say that? Nashville tuning. So you have like a 6-string guitar, put only the high string from a 12-string guitar on it. It sounds very different. And then you can panning, like you have a high-strung tuning and the regular tuning on the other side. It sounds like a 12-string, but it's actually 2 6-string guitars. And I often use this, where it is, this little yeah, the black one, which is a Schecter, the Schecter Ultra Pure, I would say.
Krissy has Neil to thank for her vocal career, if you want to say that. Who do you have to thank for you becoming learning how to play guitar? How did you get into that?
Robert Smith. I have to thank him. I just loved. Of course. I just loved his music. No, I was just growing up with music. When we were like, I don't know, 18 or 19, we tried to play music. I had a guitar, but really I was so bad. But we was in a cellar playing things, very easy things. I don't know if you guys know Ice Bear from Grauzone. It's basically a Swiss band, but it is quite famous, a new wave song. really very simple. And I think that's the only song I could play that time. And then I stopped it till it was like 15 years ago and start again. Um, I just, broke with a relationship. I need an output. And so I start to play guitar. Um, so there's not a certain person I have to be thankful. It's just like I like different kind of guitar sounds, and mostly it's this guitar sounds when Robert Smith plays on one string with one finger. That's the thing I love the most. With this certain tone, I think I love it. I use this kind of tones in my song. I think you really hear that I love the Cure in the songs.
So I have to ask you that question because it's very similar to what I asked Krissy. When you are creating a song, does your mind say to you, ooh, I'm sounding too much of The Cure or The Wedding Present or The Chameleons or whomever, and you have to pull back and go, this sounds way too much like them? Or
Yeah.
do you say, I don't care?
No, there are certain songs where I play it and then think, oh wait, that's not a band. That's not my idea. I can't remember, but we had a song where I also think this sounds too much like something else. So
I remember there was a slow dive. I think it was slow-mo. You sent me an idea and then you were like, oh, hold on a minute. Actually, I think that was a slow dive song. But it was like so intertwined that I don't think I picked up on it right away, but you have a more technical ear. But I remember that.
Yeah, then maybe change the instrumentation. You still can use those same tones if you play it different. I mean, the most of the songs are played with three chords anyway. But if you change the instrumentation, change the way you pick, change the speed or whatever, then you still can go on with parts. Or there are even parts in my music where I really, it's like a credit to a band. Where it's a little part, and when you listen careful, it's just a little part, and you see, okay, this is from there. I don't know if you ever heard there's a song of Beating B or something where it's like a credit to The Wedding Present, which is instrumental, and in the ending it's just like 4 minutes, just very fast playing. And I even did a video and I write down cheers to The Wedding Present, because I think, it's just sounds, the structure is like a wedding present song.
If I ever got to that point of musicianship, which I never will because I'm never going to go into being a musician, I would love to give tributes to all the musicians that have inspired me and do exactly that. And that's one of the things I've always said to you, Andy, about your music. You have these moments of these little flares, these little solar bursts where I can see you working on this and just letting it all go. So when you are in that moment of just that wedding present, 3 to 4 minutes, put your head down, press on that pedal, hit go. What does that feel like for you?
Well, when you work on a song, you only have layers after layers.
Sure.
So when you start it, you don't hear the whole power in it. Mm-hmm. So it's different. It's mostly when you mix it, and then you just notice, oh, that's cool, or it gives me goosebumps, or even like in these sad songs where you think, oh, that makes you tears, and I can't wait to send it to Krissy, and I just think, how many seconds do I need to get her tears?
Doesn't usually take long.
Yes. So Krissy, are you a big listener of music when it comes to those wall of noise, 2 to 3 minutes, lose yourself?
Absolutely. But I will say that in all the music that I've listened to over the years, I still think that Andy has a gift like no other to create just like this epic outro that blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a huge appreciation for that. And a lot of, like post-rock things and bands like Sigur Rós that will just, build and build and build and explode. And I love it. I get lost in that. But, the fact that I even work on music with Andy is just incredible. And of course the friendship that's come with it over the years. But like I fell down the rabbit hole of his music from Sleepless, and I literally listened to it. Aubrey, if he's here, I know that he said he did the same thing. It's just like one of those songs that you cannot listen to just one time. And I remember listening to it and like, what am I hearing right now? And I had to listen to it probably 20 times. And there was another guy that was a mutual friend of ours. It's Kev Cleary. He runs that like shoegaze, dreampop, new gaze board, who was just like, you should think about collaborating on a song together because Andy's always looking for vocalists. And I was very new to his music. I hadn't heard anything. So I knew nothing about his project other than like, oh my gosh, this is blowing my mind. Like nothing I've heard in a long time. And so, yeah, we just thought we would do like the one song, Same Sky. And obviously it came together so effortlessly and the rest is history. But never fail, even on Blue Heron stuff, like his ability to just, where you think a song is going to kind of taper off and come to an end. And he's like, hold on, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yes.
It's just very cool.
That's a great way of describing it. Krissy, is there a track or two on here out of these sevens that, obviously these, you probably enjoy all of them, but is there a track or two that you just go, man, we nailed it?
Yes. I would say on both sides of our sound coin, I love Always There for the little bit more like upbeat one. It just warms my heart when I hear that song. And I always feel like I just always smile when I hear it. And then Rear View Mirror, I think is very, I just think it's a journey, a song that just takes you on a journey and just, you don't quite know what to expect. And yet you never lose interest, at least myself. Yeah, I would say those two.
In the interest of time here, I want to move into this new song, Keep the Faith, and give our audience a chance to listen to it. And I will explain how we're going to do that here in a little bit. Andy, do you want to set this song up for us in terms of the beginning? Like, when was this song created? All that stuff. Anything you want to share? Or would you like to do that after we listen to the song, Keep the Faith?
I know. I think it's maybe not too bad to do it in advance, because I'm a big fan of Northern Soul and skinhead reggae stuff. So very early heavy bass reggae stuff, and when I just played around and did this, it's like a Northern Soul beginning, but then I think, wait. This is also like the beginning from the Jam, A Town Called Malice, or The Emotional Fish, Celebrate. I don't know if you know that song. Awesome song. Or like this girl group bands, Phil Spector produced stuff when it's faster. And I just play around, but I never thought I could change the direction that it is still a Churchhill Garden song. Because that was the biggest thing. We can't do like a soul track. Well, we can, but it just doesn't fit. And so it comes together, and I always thought, okay, the chorus, the chorus is in the middle, isn't it? That's I just want to have the chorus really big, and that this change the direction into like a Manchester thing, with its Manchester drums stuff. So that was the big challenge of this song. And when I did it, then I think, okay, I can add this Smith's guitars in it too, and it still works. So there's a lot of influence in this song, which was very fun to do. It was just hard for me to mix it. So there was really the point where I thought, I don't know if I can do it, that everything works, and that we can say, it's a Churchhill Garden song, but has really another direction in it. In the end, it works. I really, really love how it sounds now.
Krissy,
I'm amazed how many people likes it.
Oh yeah.
Krissy, do you want to share anything about it?
Yeah, I mean, I just instantly loved it, felt like it was something super different, and was honored that he would want to try to spin it in a Churchill direction. I remember when he first sent it to me, I was on this like little annual trip that I do to a place in Michigan, and I was out on a pier. It was just like beautiful waves and sunshine, and he sent me that, and my immediate thought was like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of like Katrina and the waves walking on sunshine. Like it just
Yeah,
had
yeah,
that
yeah.
vibe. So I knew that if I were to work on it, I definitely wanted it to be like an uplifting, inspirational, lyrical premise. And, just over the years, especially COVID and all that nightmare and just this world in general in the last few years, has been a really tough place for a lot of people, myself included. And yeah, it was kind of like a little pep talk to myself and also to other people that I hope would draw inspiration from the lyrics, just to, keep going, look for the light. The dark is not always going to be there, and just, believe you're going to fly if you try. So yeah, it's kind of where
Oh,
we went with it.
wasn't not you sent me the vocals, and I think you thought that's just like a tryout, and I say, oh
Maybe.
no, I want,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I
You mean
want,
like I didn't think we'd use those as like the actual vocals?
yeah, yeah, and I loved the spirit in it, in the vocal, in the sound of your voice. So we
Yeah,
took it from in the first way.
So, shall we listen to this track?
let's do it.
Okay. So, everyone at home, thank you for tuning in. This is how we're going to do it. I just dropped a link for the song Keep the Faith. You can go to that link if you like on Bandcamp. It's on Spotify as well. However, you want to bring this song to your ears, you do that, whatever works for you. When I say hit it, which is what HI stands for, you're going to hit play on your device at home. If you're on a bike, don't crash, please. If you're in a car, wherever you are not going to hear the sound come out from Facebook. I repeat, you will not hear the song come out. It will come out on your device only. And while you're listening to the song, if you want to punch in some comments for Andy or Krissy or ask them some questions about the song or share any kind of sentiments, vibes you're getting from the song, we want to hear from you. If this song is new to you, brand new, you're in for a real special treat. And if you've heard the song like me a million times, never gets old. So this is what you're going to do. In about 30 seconds, you're going to hit play on your device. Krissy and Andy, I'm going to mute my screen so you don't hear it. And then Andy or Krissy, if you want to share anything afterwards, we'd love to hear any more comments. Got it?
Got it.
All right, everyone. In 10 seconds, you're going to hit play on your device and enjoy Keep the Faith by Churchhill Garden. Hit it. Yes, and Aubrey nailed it. Goosebumps is correct. And there's that big combustible feeling that you get, right? It's it's a beautiful track and it moves so quickly. Heather says, Krissy Vanderwoude, I would have the opposite scene, wish is yours. I wish I could do the higher end vocals. My natural range is lower now. I wish I had some of your higher range sparkles. Yeah, I got some nice comments here. This is an intangible, but I really feel the love and friendship Andy and Krissy have in their music. That always comes across and always warms your heart. An integral part of all the music they make together. That was from Deborah. Andrea says, the Manchester intro threw me off the first time I heard it. Thought we were about to hear Andy pay homage to Stone Roses or something. And then James says, love the influence on the song. Love that you mentioned Katrina and the Waves. I would love to see you guys do a cover of Kimberly Rue's Going Down to Liverpool. That guitar sound is so amazing. Anyway, I love your song, and it's such an uplifting song. And Steve Russo says, I loved it. All right, so Krissy, can you unmute for a sec?
Sorry. Forgot that I had muted it.
So, in all honesty, when was the last time you heard that song?
Actually, I think release day I listened to it. I think we both tend to do that. I don't think I've listened to it since then. Maybe I have, but yeah, it's funny because with Churchhill Garden stuff, I feel that I listen often to our music, and I hope that's not weird, but I think Andy and I are both that way. Like we do listen to our songs that we do together, and yeah, that one in particular, a couple days.
Krissy, people probably ask you, where do these album cover ideas come from? They are gorgeous. They are beautiful. They are lush. They are iconic.
So Andy, 100% Andy.
We all know this, but Krissy, when you see these, with the final release of this, do you get that goosebump feeling?
Oh, absolutely. And I always am just like, of course. Like he's just the genius on every level. I mean, he does the artwork for Drown in the Sea of Sound, my radio show. And I'm like always, especially if I know he's busy, I'm like, listen, like literally pull a stock image, like don't have to do anything fancy. No, like even that, he's got to like always keep that bar set. And I love that about him. But yeah, the artwork, one thing he does that I think is really cool, because I am not that way. I tend to be very like literal. So I think if I were going to be creating artwork for our songs, I would go a completely different route, just naturally, where like, you know, let's say it's a song about like Fade Away or something. It probably would have had something to do with that lyrical base. And then here he comes with this like haunting, beautiful, like white cover with a horse. And I'm like, but it's so striking. And I really love that about Andy, that it's so unpredictable. I have zero clue what he's going to come at me with, and I always love it. So
does he go to you and say, all right, here's some rough sketches, or does he keep it hidden from you until?
Oh no, he's always, which is always so sweet as well, like always very collaborative through and through everything. Like, you know, always presents it first and like, what do you think? And back in the day, like he would show me a couple different images, but I think he just learned like I fully trust whatever you do, but he definitely wants my input. It's just There's usually no need for any changes. So
Andy, we got to go there, and then we're going to do some inspirational albums. I'm sorry, my friend, but you get a lot of praise, not just for your technical work and everything else with music, but the artwork. So where the hell does all that come from?
Well, I think it's like in the music, inspiration, and it comes from music. Just go back to 1990, 1994, and you have all this 4AD stuff. That was just the way they did album cover was just what I loved. I was going to record stores and I not look what band it is. I just watch. Is it 4AD? Okay, yeah, Heidi. Okay, I buy it. I just want to have the colors on it, and also like when I play music, don't think, just do. um, I really never think when I do this stuff. It just has to look good.
So
Um,
for this artwork for Metamorphosis, how long did it take you from start to finish?
how long? Um, um, I even changed the direction. I wasn't sure. You know, the artwork itself, when you watch it, it's not that striking. It looks good, but when you will receive the record, and I will show you if you want, then I think then the most special thing comes in. It's just this lacquer thing where just you have to move it, and then you see that there's a glossy effect on it, and it's turned out. Oh, I don't know how to show that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see it when it's straight in front of you. You have to move it, and I really like that. And I worked long to find the right color. That it's if you want to have like a dark green, the point where it could turns into a matte color, is that muddy?
Like a muddy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it turns muddy or too dark or too yellowish that it doesn't look good. So I really tried to have really this emerald green, I think is that it works. And I did at my office, I did a lot of proofs to check when is the green exactly how I want it. And I'm very happy that the print agency did a perfect job. It really looks like my initial work.
I'm looking at the cover right now, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 critters on the back there. Were those critters, those insects, were they for the songs?
No,
No. Okay.
no, it just
Okay.
looks good.
Okay.
Well, and we should let them know he has, like, his home is like a museum, and even over the years, like, I've purchased some like taxidermy type things for his collection for like gifts or whatever, and it's kind of cool and very appropriate that this ended up being our artwork, because he has like the most incredible collection of bugs and butterflies and bats and snakes, just like all kinds of cool taxidermy things. And so it feels like not only is it striking, but it just makes sense, I think, with the whole concept of Metamorphosis and then just his collection. It's really cool that it came that way, again, just very naturally and organically. But yeah,
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And most people would not have known that. So thank you for sharing that little nugget.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about inspirational albums. So everyone, this is the part of the conversation where our guests get to share inspirational albums that have made an impact on their life in some fashion. And we're going to start with, well, who wants to go first?
I think mine's going to be kind of boring because I don't have anything to show anyone. So like I will just name the albums, and I think I should go first. Well, he'll be the peak of it all.
All
That's
right,
just
so
my opinion, but
Krissy, go for it. What are some inspirational albums for you?
okay. So I have 5 of them. Probably going to be very predictable on these, but absolute top peak album for me always and forever is Slowdive Souvlaki. I feel like that was the door, my gateway into all of the music that I love the most. And so, yeah, that will always be very near and dear to my heart. Cocteau Twins, Heaven or Las Vegas, love all their albums. That one in particular, I don't know, I really connect to. I really love pretty much from start to finish, all their albums, but I like that album the best. The Cure, Disintegration. Once again, love everything they do, but that one just forever holds my heart. And then I wanted to come up with 2 little bit newer ones that remember making such an impact on me to where I not only could not stop listening, still every time I listen, just get the same feeling. And so I think they'll stay in my favorites. And that is a band called Crescendo. And the album is called Unless. Came out in 2016. Incredible sound. It makes me so like happy when I hear it. And it's just, I would love to see what you guys would think if you listen to it. Some of the music's kind of haunting. I don't know what it is about it. It is so catchy. Little bit shoegazy, post-punk, but just dancey kind of stuff as well. So I love that. And then in this last year, one of my absolute favorite discoveries was the band Basement Revolver and their album Embody. And dear God, that song, or the song, the album, like everything on it is just like a gut wrencher, and one that just like pulls at every heartstring I have, but in the best way. And I would love to see them live. I feel like they're a band that I would travel outside of my typical like traveling radius to go see live. So yeah, those are mine.
Before I toss this over to Andy, is there a particular track from Slovakia that hits the heart? I know everyone is just delicious.
For sure.
But,
I always take it back to, so I was 16 years old. I was laying in a hotel room with my parents. We had gone on like some trip, and they allowed me to go to the CD store and purchase this album because it was like on their release day. And I had this, for whatever reason, I decided to bring a lava lamp with me because, you know, got to set up the ambiance in the hotel room. And so I had this lava lamp on, and I was listening to my little Discman and had my headphones on. And as soon as Souvlaki Space Station hit, like that feeling is what I like live for when I listen to music. Like the way that song hit me, and just that, like, just, I will just never forget how I felt with that. And I feel like it still has that. I think it's just a nostalgic thing, maybe, with that song, just knowing how I felt, and just like that was it for me. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, this is now where the bar of music is for me, and everything else that's going to blow my mind has to like meet or exceed this. So.
And to experience that song live,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Are you, I'm sure you're very excited about the new Slow Dive release.
Oh my gosh, like so excited. And yeah, I cannot wait. I can't wait to hear the full album. I cannot wait to see them live again. I'm super excited. I think anyone who knows anything about me knows like that is my band. So
Cocteau Twins, you mentioned Heaven or Las Vegas. If you can pronounce some of the songs.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? Cherry Colored Funk, yeah. I would say. And I love the artwork on that album too. Like every time I just see that artwork, it just, I don't know, there's something about it.
Cure Disintegration.
I mean, Pictures of You, of course. And I actually really like Lullaby a lot on that. I know it's a very different sound for them, but I always liked how just kind of haunting that one was.
Crescendo.
That's actually a good question, because I need to look up a song title. Hold on. I think it's number 3. And I really hope that you guys will follow my lead on this and check them out. And also Gregory, the one of the band members. I unfortunately don't think they're doing anything actively right now. But he is like one of the most beautiful, humble humans, and kind of like Andy, doesn't realize how brilliant he is, and is just like so gracious and grateful for anyone who loves his music. So it just makes me want to support them even more. But I would say the song Repulsor, Haunted is another one. It is one of those though, like you press play on the album and it's a whole experience. Like there's a few standout tracks, but it just has an amazing flow to it. So yeah, I would highly recommend that.
And then Basement
Revolver. These two kind of flow into each other. Slow and Black Hole. And those two, like, it almost seems like they're meant to go together. They are 2 individual tracks. But yeah, those, they're very, very striking, heart-wrenching, beautiful songs.
And then just outside of this question, a memorable concert. I know you've been to many, but one that just like, yeah.
Yeah, so I won't state the obvious Slow Dive because that's a given. I would say any of the Dead Can Dance or Sigur Rós shows that I have seen are like almost spiritual experiences for me. Like never fail to give me tears and chills, and you just feel like you're like not sitting in there witnessing a concert. It feels like I don't know, like just a spiritual experience. So yeah, I would say those.
I haven't seen Sigur Rós, but I've seen Dead Can Dance, and I would completely concur with that statement.
Yes.
Okay, so these are some Blue Ribbon artists albums that you mentioned. So if you wouldn't mind, Krissy,
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you post these album titles in the comment box?
Earlier
Okay.
when we were listening to the song, I was like, oh wait, that's how I see the comments. I haven't seen them the whole time, so I apologize if I haven't been replying, but I'll go back through them. But yes, I will put all those in the
awesome comments. So Andy, we're going to transition into your inspirational albums. What do you got for us today?
Okay. I basically have same records are very influential to me as Krissy, but I choose completely other records because there are a lot of bands influenced me in a big way. So the first record is, how to show that, it's Angelic Upstarts. And this is actually a collection from 1978 to 1983. It's a punk band, actual oi skinhead punk band, but that was the first time. This record makes me open to a lot of other music, as here are oi classics on it. There's 77 punk rock on it. But here's the first time I heard a punk band play reggae, and good reggae. Here's a speaking voice, a poem on it. Here's a song with acoustic guitar, the song England. It's a pop song with Never Say Die on it. It's just like this band has it was so big. You know, you hear other punk bands that was just punk. And here is a band coming. Never Say Die on it. It's just like now we have a delay.
She had her other screen on. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So second band is Big Country. It's all about guitar tones. I just still love the guitar tone on that record. It sounds like a bagpipe. Even the band hates when you say it, but it really sounds like a bagpipe. They stopped, I think, 2001 because Stuart Adamson, I don't know the exactly word, make suicide. But it's so good. There's actually a song with Kate Bush on it. Very, very good.
And that album has one of their best songs called "I Walk the Hill."
I think it has. Yeah, my favorite is "Look Away."
Okay, no, that's the first.
Yeah, the last song.
Great stuff.
House of Love. House of Love.
Yeah.
What it was 19? I think 8. Is it 86? I think it's 86. When you listen to Christine, that's actually like a shoegaze song. 88. It's so good.
Die einzige Option, die ich gefunden habe, ist Phase Kramgasse. Hast du das gemeint?
No.
Was that your AI?
Yeah, that was Siri. Of course. Yeah. Catherine Wheel. Oh, it's too good, actually, I think. Unfortunately, that's the re-release. As that time I made my biggest mistake in life, I stopped buying records and buy CDs, which is a pain in the ass now. But I'm happy I get it. And here, the death of Cool of the Kitchen of the Statue. I think it was, beside the Wedding Present, it was the first band I heard where they play like 7 minutes or 8 minutes with long outros. And I just love the long outros of those bands. So this is like very special place in my heart.
Okay, so I think Krissy, you knew this. Maybe Andy, you knew this. You know, Kitchens of Distinction is my favorite band of all time.
I don't know if I knew that.
Okay,
I
so
think
I
saw
got
you with something.
I got a little goosebumps. Yeah. So when people ask me I mean, there are so many bands, right? But when it comes down to that being on a desert island and you get one band, that's it for me. And
awesome.
just what you said, one of the first bands that transported me to this whole nother region in my mind, and lyrically so painful. Some of those lyrics are so gut wrenching, as he was dealing with so much strife on his orientation, all that stuff. So, and that album is actually, no joke, that is my favorite album of all time.
Oh.
So there you go. And would pay top dollar to see Patrick and the boys reunite, but that ain't gonna happen.
You make
So,
good alone.
Yeah, if you want to type those in now or later, that's fine. Your choices. Great picks there. I'm sorry, Andy. What did you for the House of Love? What was one of your favorite tracks besides Christine?
Love in the Car.
Oh yeah. If you go on YouTube, they have you can see some amazing performances of that song where they really extend it out, and that's a great choice.
It's quite interesting because I did promoting organized concerts back in the day, and we did House of Love, and they bring a supporting act, and it was Catherine Wheel. We didn't know them; it was new to us. It was just after Catherine Wheel we thought, okay, now we could go home.
Yeah,
it was just so good.
This is all good stuff. Thank you for sharing. Okay, we're going to wrap this up with a few comments, and then I have a very important question for you two. Let's see. Thank you, Krissy, for dropping those. Yes, so we're going to start with Heather says, Dead Can Dance Live is definitely a spiritual experience. Absolutely. What they're able to do with all the moving pieces and parts on that stage, I mean, it's mind blowing. Deborah says, I have that big country album too. It's fantastic. Yeah. And then Aubrey says, yes, KOD. We have another KOD. James says, Catherine Wheel album is incredible. I saw them in Cleveland, that tour. I think that Catherine Wheel tour, I think my hearing is still hurting from that one. And then Aubrey says, love KOD. Strange Free World is unreal. Yep. You're not going to hear any negative comments from me on that one. And then Catherine Wheel, we're always incredible live. Okay. So last question for both of you. What's next for the Churchhill Garden?
There's no end as far as I know. I mean, I think we just continue, he continues to put music in the bank, and I'll pull him out and put vocals on it. And we do have a cover in the works that he's doing.
Yeah.
That'll be next. Just a nod to one of his favorite bands. Oh, you're going to share. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to do a cover of a song from Naked Souls.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So do we have possibly a release date?
No.
And then, go ahead.
Go ahead.
When it's done.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah. And then we'll just continue to work on music. And that's always been the nice thing with Churchhill Garden is like, there is literally there's no real like goal, like by this point we need to have an album done. It's never been like that. And so it just I think it kind of helps with creative freedom because I don't feel like a pressure or anything to have anything done, by a certain time. He's beyond understanding. Those of you pray for me because I got to work through this writer's block. It's been a minute and I know I can do it. It's daunting. It's been a minute since I've worked on something like truly original. So I got to tap back into that inspiration and hopefully it will flow like a fountain. So that's really...
What's blocking you?
Oh, life. My gosh. Last year, without getting into details, but last year was like legitimately hell on earth for me in so many ways. So it was probably the toughest year of my life. And working through PTSD of some things from that, and just in so many different areas of life that it was just like, oh, okay, no, for real, what's going on? Just weird hits left and right. So it almost like deprived me of my ability to even like daydream or like try to go to a different place, which was always like music was always an escape for me and like an outlet for me. And then when you get to that point where you're like, I don't know what to sing about, I don't know what to do here, so it's weird. I have talked to several different artists that I admire, and they're like, hang in there, like it literally happens to every single one of us. So I feel like I'm ready. I just have to do it.
That's such a part of the human experience, though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And just trying to will yourself out of a very difficult hole.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, what about you? Anything else you want to share? What's going on for you in the future?
Oh, I wait for Krissy.
Bless you. Sorry, everyone.
I'm very exciting to do this cover version. It's like 30 years ago. This song is 30 years old, and it's just cool. And these are old friends of mine, and I'm looking forward to do that. But we do have really, I think, a lot of good songs waiting.
Great.
But we take time.
Yeah.
We need time to do.
Well, and we knew we had Keep the Faith in the bank. So I think that allowed me to have this like grace period of like, okay, we've got one more here that we can release, and then we got the album. And so I feel like it's good timing. I feel like I'm definitely ready to dive into that again. I mean, I can feel inspired and stuff again. So it won't be long.
Krissy, do you mind sharing your radio show, DKFM, when people can check?
Yeah, actually, I have one on tonight that I have to post about. So every other Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Pacific, I have a show on DKFM called Drown in a Sea of Sound. Just a lot of shoegaze and dreampop treasures. So I actually have a premiere tonight by the amazing band Peach Gardens. They are include members of Life on Venus, and this song is... oh my goodness, it's stunning. So if you have a chance to tune in, if not tonight, it does replay tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific. And then they're always uploaded to Mixcloud on the DKFM Mixcloud channel, usually like a month or so after.
For those of you that are tuning in and have not tuned in to one of Krissy's shows, check them out. There's a lot of love flowing in and out of those conversations, and a lot of images.
Yes, a lot of gifts.
A lot of gifts. Thank you so much, you two. This has been a wonderful just conversation with the two of you. And I think for me, as I've gotten to know who you are as musicians, as people, there's such a humanistic, humble, gracious side to you. And I love the fact that both of you come in at these conversations with a lot of, your feet are always on the ground. You're very cordial, you're respectful of people that, that you're working with. And, Krissy, you said it earlier about 10 minutes ago. It's easy for you to support musicians that are very full of gratitude, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of, I would say hats off to both of you as well. So awesome work. This has been a great, I'm looking forward to the vinyl, and Keep the Faith has been a great single to release. And thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is W, host of the High Art on the Edge page. Coming up next event will be surprise number 2. This is where I speak with a friend and we shine a spotlight on an artist. Our first one was the Lightning Seeds. Our special guest was Ian McNabb from the Icicle Works. Our next surprise will be on July 1st, and we're going to shine a spotlight on the Beastie Boys. Nice. With my friend Andy Katz. And you never know who may show up for these events. So Take care, everyone. Keep listening to great music. It's always out there. You just have to keep looking. Take care.
Bye-bye.